and then when we get to question time, if you just there's like a little list. Does that
Mhm.
make sense, Aubrey?
Sure.
If you want to just like answer it, that's fine. Or if it's
Yeah.
something we need to discuss out loud, so we'll have a good 15 minutes or so for questions after we get through this opening stuff, and then if there's still time, all of us can talk our ears off about how much we love the arts. So
Sure.
Mhm.
And
well,
definitely feel free to correct if I put something incorrect in the chat as I'm trying to answer questions. Absolutely, someone pop in and let me know for sure.
yeah, I think maybe
Okay.
Chris Bick, maybe you can also help answer because
Uh,
like somebody the first question already popped up is are the arts an elective or a core?
mhm.
My understanding is right now all of them are in electives. At one point, we did have some film classes that qualified for an English credit, but I believe that is no longer the case. So at this point,
Mhm.
all of our classes are elective credits.
Yeah. Well, with this exception, and I'd love to share this with everybody, and it is great to see you all. I have made it a point in my life never to disagree with Chris Russ or Aubrey Park, but I'm going to break the rule for Chad tonight in his question. Chad, here's the answer. I think the answer is actually yes, it is a core class. I'm going to tell you why. In our school structurally, it's listed as an elective, right? I totally get that. And that's how you're going to get credit. But the bigger point is this, right? The creative arts are so essential to the world right now, the world that you're going to be living in, that it needs to be classified as a core discipline. Um, you will get zero enjoyment out of life if the only thing that you do is repeat the work that's already been done, right? A life fulfilled is one that has new things that are part of it all the time. When you're a creator, a doer, a maker, that's where everything is so much more rich. And that's what we've got an opportunity to talk about tonight. So, yes, officially it's an elective, but I'm here to tell you it's essential to who you are.
If you as parents hear good things about us and you want us each to stay, just make sure that guy stays. We are very, very fortunate and lucky to have such a supportive administration for sure. So we'll do a quick round of introductions, and then again, just like a minute to a minute and a half. I'll go first. So I'm Christopher Rust. I'm the choir director of music theory and IB Music. I've been at Sunset. I think this is my 16th year, somewhere around their 15th, 16th year. And then, the other thing I wanted us to share real quick is just what type of artist are you in your own personal life? And for me personally, the type of art that I gravitated to the most was composition. So that's what my degree is in, and I try and compose for the choir a couple times a year, and that's kind of my real core passion. And I'm excited to say I just had my first choir piece published about 6 months ago. It was a piece I wrote at the beginning of the pandemic, and the choirs performed it virtually, and someone on from Hal Leonard saw it on YouTube and contacted me and said, "Hey, let's publish this thing." So very exciting. Some one good thing to come out of the COVID, because I never would have written that piece. So, yeah. Why don't we go on to Aubrey?
Sure. So I'm Aubrey Park, and I teach IB Art. So that's HL2, HL1, and SL1. And then I also teach the Art 2 class, and then I teach Art 1 as well. And Sarah Whitley also has taught those courses. So she and I share some of those kiddos. And it's my 7th year, I think, at Sunset. I student taught at Sunset back in 2009, and then taught at a private school for a couple years. And then once I learned I could come back, I immediately came back. And my background is specifically in 2D work. So painting and drawing, I would say, is my specific background for the visual arts.
Great. Why don't we jump into James?
Hey guys, I'm James Farmer. I'm the theater director, teacher, and film teacher. I've been at Sunset for 13 years. Lucky 13, I guess. Let me see. I have a background as an actor and a director, but I think lately what I've really enjoyed the most is being a builder. I teach Theater 1 and 2, theater production and design, IB Theater, and IB Film.
Hi, folks. My name is Greg Hall, and I teach all of the bands at Sunset, which means I teach ninth grade band, symphonic wind ensemble, our jazz lab. My first year at Sunset was school year 86 to current day. And it's a great place for kids. And you'll hear more about the why it's a good place for kids here real soon. Welcome.
All right, Mary.
Hi, everyone. My name's Mary Tassone, and this is my 14th year at Sunset. I teach graphic design 1, 2, 3, and 4, and my background is also in graphic design. I worked in the industry for about 6 years before I started teaching at Sunset.
Great. And Chris, you already shared your words of wisdom. Do you want to give a quick introduction for those who haven't had a chance to meet you yet?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to do it quickly. What's really exciting tonight is I see a lot of names that we've seen in other events already this week. Thank you guys for coming out and really trying to learn as much as you can about our programs. I will not say this in any other session, I promise, but I need you to promise not to repeat this outside of this Zoom. This is going to be the best 45 minutes that you spend all week, period. There, I said it. Don't repeat it. And my other colleagues will get after me a little bit. My name's Chris Bick. I'm one of Sunset's assistant principals, and one of my great honors and responsibilities is working with the Sunset staff members that you see on screen tonight. Good to see you guys.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. As you can see, we have a very cohesive department. I'm doing most of the talking because I'm the department chair. We kind of take turns running the show. And it's very, we all get along great, and we all share a lot of students, and we all support each other. And so I feel very lucky to be part of this department. This next portion, and I wanted to speak to Audrey and Luke. That was really, I appreciate you bringing that out. If we can all use full terms on our, IB, HL, SL, it can get a little confusing. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and we'll try and speak to that. This next little portion, I'd love for us to speak a little bit specifically about what we offer for incoming ninth graders, because we can have all this stuff going on, but my understanding is you're all here because, your connection is incoming ninth graders. And so if we can kind of streamline it and talk straight to that. I'll go first to kind of give a basic example. The choir program, we have 4 choirs that are classes. And then we have a few choirs that meet outside of class that are kind of like just special extras, because I'm crazy. So we have a couple a cappella groups that meet. In addition to that, I help out with the school musical with Mr. Farmer. And then I also teach music theory, which is open to all levels. And then IB music theory, which is for IB students, junior and senior year. So incoming ninth graders, I've tried to streamline it, make it super easy. If they're interested in being in choir, on the forecasting sheet, it just says choir. You don't have to worry about which choir am I going to be in, do I have to audition, or all ninth graders go into one choir. And so you don't have to stress about that. And then from there in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, we worry about auditions and so forth. Music theory is also open to ninth graders, okay? And that involves learning the basics of music theory and some songwriting and composing. Last thing I'll just share, and I think I speak for all of us, but this is a message I try to share over and over and over and over and over again. And that's just that what we were trying to show in that video, one of the many things is that we believe collectively, all Apollos are artists. And so every one of us can speak to the football players that have been in our class, the volleyball players, the soccer players, the robotics kid, the computer programmer, that's one of the great parts about being at Sunset is that you can do many, many things, and you can be in the arts and athletics and the academics. It does work out. And I sometimes get scared when kids go, oh, well, I'm a theater kid. So okay, that's one piece of your identity. And I feel like us as teachers really do a good job of working together and trying to promote that idea of just a holistic self. You're not just one thing, you're many. So, okay, so that's my little spiel. Again, incoming ninth graders, you just sign up for choir. It's really easy. And then we worry about auditions and all that when you're older. And then music theory, same thing. It just says music theory. Why don't we go to Aubrey and you can speak to both ceramics and kind of the art stuff.
Sure, of course. So for incoming freshmen, I would say in general, Art 1 is kind of the gateway to a lot of areas. There's also Ceramics 1, and then there's also Graphic Design 1, which Mary can talk more about. So me specifically teaching Art 1 and Art 2, some freshmen choose to, take Art 1 first semester, and then they might take Art 2 second semester. A student can also take Art 1 their freshman year, wait a little bit, then take Art 2 later. We do have a visual. I'm going to share my screen real quick because my hope is that it'll help people just see a few things that might help. So specifically with visual art, so we do have our Instagram, and of course you can see student work, but further down you will be able to see a sequence image, so right in here. And it shows kind of how a student can take Art 1 and then they take Art 2, and eventually that can lead to IB. So as a freshman, we have grades 9 through 10. The courses available for freshmen to just jump into would be Graphic Design 1, Art 1, and Ceramics 1. Those are the places to start. And I do want to emphasize, and I'll stop sharing here in a second, and I can put a link for this in the chat. The benefit of Art 1 is that we try to cover a range of materials and then also concepts, different ways of how a student can be gifted or talented in different ways. When they take Art 1, they're kind of figuring that out, and then things start to click. So we might have a project that's 3D based, and then a kid is like, whoa, I really love working three-dimensionally. I think I need to take ceramics. Or you might have a student who may not feel confident in their drawing ability, but maybe your student is really good with design and color theory, and they might do a collage project and they just nail it. And they're like, dang, like that was actually kind of fun. I like making decisions like that. Then that student might take graphic design down the road. So Art 1 is really a helpful course to get a taste of everything. And then it's kind of a guiding post for where they go next. So that's in general my encouragement to freshmen. Start with Art 1. You're exposed to a lot of things. You really sort out what you're excited about, and that propels you forward. So that's what I'll say for ninth graders, for sure. Those three, Art 1, Ceramics 1, and then of course, Mary can speak about graphic design. And I do want to say for ceramics, there's a few things. So in Ceramics 1, students learn a variety of hand building techniques. And if they want to throw on the wheel, like if they want to do what they see in shows with like pottery wheel or making bowls, they do need to take Ceramics 1 first. So there's no wheel throwing in Ceramics 1. They first get the foundational skills down, and then a kid could take Ceramics 2 and throw on the wheel. But those three, Art 1, Ceramics 1, and then Mary will be able to share more about Graphic Design 1.
Then why don't we jump right into, well, maybe, so David did ask if you can put that slide up again. Is that,
Sure.
is that a Google, is it a Google slide?
So it's actually an image that's on our Instagram. So, and I can
you maybe drop a link into the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if that's trouble, we can go back to the slide, but I just want to make sure we save time for questions and comments.
Absolutely. Later. Yeah. So for this image right down here, and we have this posted in a few spots, so we can certainly make this image that can go along with forecasting so that they can easily access it. And I know with Instagram, if I click on it, it won't work necessarily, but you can see at least a bit of it. Yeah.
Maybe if you find a link, you can drop that in.
Sure.
That'd be
great.
I
can do that. Let me do that right now.
And then someone asked, what about 10th and 11th grade? Do you want to speak just for even like 30 seconds about that?
Sure. So 10th and 11th grade. So sophomore could take any of those beginning sequence courses. So I will say with things start to narrow a bit. So I know like photography opens up to juniors. So a student, you know, they can't take photography until their junior year. Sophomores can take many of those other courses, Art 1, Art 2, as long as they're in order. Specifically for IB Art, students have to wait till their junior year. So students can take IB their junior, senior year. They do need to take 2 classes that go in sequence of each other. For example, ceramics 1, ceramics 2, or art 1 and art 2, or graphic design 1, graphic design 2. They need to get to a second level course and complete it in order to take IB. So that's something to be aware of as they move forward. And then I'm just checking a few things. So, and then, sorry, let's see. I was looking at the chat, Chris.
I'm sorry. I'm keeping tabs with that while you
Okay.
you
Yeah.
talk, and then I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, I always encourage students, if a student is interested in IB art, it is absolutely crucial they do try as many things as possible. You almost think of it like a tool belt. You want as many tools in the bag as you can get. So, yes, you have to take 2 classes that go in order of each other, but students who've had a lot of success, they've maybe taken Art 1 and Art 2, and they have also taken a ceramics course, and they have also taken graphic design, and that kind of gives them a little more depth and strength when they enter the IB program. But technically, to get into IB as a junior, they need to have 2 art classes that go in order of each other. That's kind of the baseline for that. And then, yeah, and then photography, it is digital. Ellie Rosendahl is an incredible teacher for photography. She's able to, if a student has interest in film, she's very personable and she's able to help kids pursue their interests, but the classes themselves are digital, which is, it's a really great program.
Great. Thanks so much, Aubrey. And we will definitely have a time to hit. There was one question I know I didn't answer in the chat because I feel like we need to talk about it. So I wrote it down. But I'm going to let you monitor going back, Aubrey. You'll go if you can monitor the chat now. And we'll move on to James. So theater and film, if you want to speak to that.
Sure. So I think introductory classes for theater would be Theater 1 and 2, which is primarily a performance course. And it's usually a blended course. So Theater 1 and Theater 2 kids are in the same section. And Theater 1 is for, you know, kids who took maybe theater in middle school and really enjoyed it and want to continue, or somebody who's brand new to theater. Theater 2 is for a student who's really engaged and wants to step it up a little bit. And then the way I've worked it out in the class is that the Theater 2 students will do more assessments. They'll do multiple scenes and monologues, as well as directing Theater 1 students. So it's pretty challenging, I think, for them. And then there's also theater production and design, which is open to freshmen. And that's a stagecraft course. We talk about design as well, theatrical design, but it's also a support course for our after-school productions. Which is kind of great because the curriculum changes every year. It depends on whatever shows we happen to be putting up. So it's a great kind of problem solving class where we have, you know, certain demands for a particular set design, and the students in that class are doing the building and the painting and all the work that's required to help sort of put that show up. I'm really proud of the program because I think it's one of the last places on campus or maybe in the district where students can work with tools and they can sort of have a different kind of experience than they do in a traditional classroom, and get to build things and work with their hands. And yeah, so there's that. For sophomores, if they're really interested and want to just go for the sequence, they can take theater ensemble. And that's another course that's paired with IB theater. And it's kind of a great window because the sophomore students get to collaborate with the IB students on a lot of the projects. They get to serve as their acting company, but they also get this kind of front row seat to the IB assessments. So if they want to go through the full sequence, they'll have a really good idea of what that's going to look like. yeah, I think that's about it. I
Great.
think, and I guess I want us to say that I love being able to collaborate with Chris and Greg on our musical every year and running our after school theater program. We're also involved in the Thespian organization, which is just a international organization of high school theater kids, you know. And we participate in a regional festival and a state festival every year, and the students really enjoy it. And so I think it's a really positive program. So so we have those things as well.
Great. Thanks so much, James. All right, Greg, why don't we move on? Greg Hall
Yeah.
and band.
Yeah. For ninth grade wind players, kids that play flute, clarinet, trumpet, etc., and percussionists, we offer what is called concert band, and that's the band that our ninth graders need to sign up for. The curriculum is geared towards ninth grade musicians. It is a year-long class, and we study music from Sousa to 20th century composers. And it's just a great way for kids to continue playing and be involved in a really proactive group on campus. What kids can do after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the months of September and October, we have the Apollo Marching Band and Auxiliary, and freshman kids can be a part of that group. We offer right around January for a couple of months. We also have another group for freshmen. It is our basketball band, and it plays at girls' games and guys' games, and it's just a great social outlet for our kids. But the main class, of course, is concert band, and it's in the program guide. And we'd love to have as many kids be involved in that year-long program as well. Sophomores would sign up for symphonic band. It is one of our second level instrumental wind and percussion classes where we have geared our literature towards the 10th grade student. And it's a great, great, great stepping stone from their first year in the high school program. You know, Sunset is a great place. Sunset is a large place, and being involved in one of our classes can really do so much to welcome kids to high school life, proactive, positive life. And all of our classes, not only the bands, but all of our classes really offer that to the new student, someone who is new to our campus. So sophomores would sign up for symphonic band, and then our juniors and seniors would be a part of the symphonic wind ensemble. And the marching band, again, is open during September and October. It's open to all grades, and we'd like as many kids who would like to be a part of the Apollo Marching Band and Auxiliary to do so. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Greg. Maybe if you can clarify one quick question in the chat, and that
Yeah.
if a student did not take band in middle school, can they start in ninth grade? Like, can they begin a new instrument for the first time in ninth grade?
That's really tough. We do not have a beginning program. Maybe we'll have something that looks like a beginning program sometime, but we really don't. Generally speaking, when kids come into our program as ninth graders, they've had at least half a year to a full year of either private study or study in middle school. So in terms of teaching a brand new instrument, unfortunately, we don't do that.
Maybe if they had some background, they played piano for 10 years or something, it makes it a little easier, but they're going to have some catch up. And so it's very
Right.
so.
You know, if kids have played piano for a few years and they can read notes, yeah, there's always the marimba, xylophone, or some sort of percussive instrument.
Great.
But yeah,
Thanks, Greg. All right, we're going to move on to Mary, and then we should have a little bit of time left at the end to answer any questions. I've written down a few questions that we haven't answered yet, and we can keep them coming. I love the chat. This is active group. It's great. All right, Mary.
Yeah, so as Aubrey mentioned, freshmen can take Graphic Design 1. If they're really passionate about it, they can sign up for Graphic Design 1 first semester and Graphic Design 2 second semester. But a lot of students like to take one class freshman year and then maybe the second level sophomore, junior, or senior year. So they can really either compact it or spread it out based on their schedule. And I'll screen share with you here. Can I screen share, Chris?
Oh yeah, let me make you. There you go.
But we're learning. We're using Adobe software, which is what professionals use. So they're getting experience using real world software. And in Graphic Design 1, we're basically getting comfortable and confident using the software and starting to use all the different tools that are available. We touch on Photoshop a little bit, but we start to use more Photoshop in Graphic Design 2. But we do some product design stuff. We talk about typography, t-shirt design, poster design, logo design. We have some game design stuff here, banners, character design. These are some charity posters, and we incorporate some digital drawing. And we talk about how to use photos in our designs as well. And just helping students become better visual communicators. So how do you take information? And I like to call us visual engineers. So how do you take that information and make it both engaging to look at, but more importantly, make it functional? So I think it has a lot of use as far as if they're not going to go on to a creative career, study design, they could use it for a lot of their other classes. And then just real quick, here's some Graphic Design 2 work where we get into really pushing typography and concepts, flyer design, branding. And then we get into a lot of expressive stuff in Photoshop with digital portraiture and then digital manipulation, movie posters and things like that. And with the advanced kids, we also try and do some work with the community. So we've done a lot of fun things working with, you know, parents and community members that have a specific need. And so it's pretty cool to see kids get to do some real projects as well.
I'm always amazed as I walk through the halls and see the graphic design. I mean, it's just beautiful. I feel like we have a beautiful school, and a large part of it is because of the work that they put up. It's just wonderful. All right. So I feel like we've got a couple. Aubrey, do you have any questions that we haven't answered yet that you noted? I made a few notes.
So one thing that I did want to point out is I did put in the chat. So we do have a website. So shsapolloarts.com, and I'll just share my screen really briefly. So if you want to poke around, so we do have a site where you can visit works that were completed last year. So we have a big art fest event. Last year it was digital, but we're still wanting to engage kids in the community. So you can click through and view student work. So you can see photography, ceramics. You can even here under ceramics, you just click on the green and it will take you to a page where you can see what students are making in these courses. So I just, I wanted to make sure to mention that because you can get a view of our community student work. You can see work from the teachers, but really it's about the kids. Like before the pandemic hit, we had a big mural project, and this was very student driven, student supported. So I do want to encourage parents to just check out that website, because hopefully it will help you see a little bit more about what we do.
Just to piggyback on that too, there's an alumni gallery in there too. And I feel like all of us have a very strong connection to alumni, which is really great because they're coming back and talking to our current kids. So I feel like it keeps us fresh as far as what is going on, you know, right past high school, at the university level, and then also students that are new to the profession are able to share with us, you know, what employers are looking for and things like that, which the kids respond really well when alumni come and share with them. So we have that connection, which is pretty cool.
Great. So we have about 10 to 12 minutes, and I feel like there's several things we want to get through, and just keep those questions coming. We'll try and rip through them. Chris Bick already addressed, someone had asked about changing electives mid-year, and the good news is, as a ninth grader, you've got plenty of time. So if you love Art 1 and you had it first term, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work with Miss Park again, you've got your sophomore year. It's very difficult to change your schedule mid-year. We're a big school, big programs, and there's some flexibility for emergencies, but don't plan on it. It's best to just do your best to think ahead and know that you've got time. A lot of questions about how many electives will I have? How many electives will I have? It's confusing and it's tough. But I will tell you that in your advisory class right now, just worry about ninth grade. And then in your advisory class, they do a great job of helping you map out and see the big picture. In general, students tend to have a few more elective option spaces when they get to their junior and senior year. Okay, that's in general. All right. But that freshman year, if you take health and PE, you know, you're pretty, and a foreign language, you are kind of limited. There's not a lot of space there. And that's you know, it's a good problem to have, that you want to take so many classes and you can't fit it all. But you will be able to fit it. Someone else asked, can students kind of jump around and pop in and out? I think that's one of the things we're most proud of, you know, that I have a student be with me in choir for freshman year and sophomore year, and then they jump over and they take an art class, they jump over and take photography. You know, we're not trying to force kids to be one thing and only that one thing. We want to encourage them to be many things. So, you know, someone said, could I just take theater design one time? Absolutely. That's what we're all about. We believe that's part of what fills our soul, you know. So for sure. Yeah, balancing IB diploma and the arts program. I think it's great that you're thinking ahead, and just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. You know, doing the IB diploma is a huge thing, and it will require you to make some sacrifices in terms of your schedule. It will, but you don't need to make that decision right now. There are plenty of, I've had students in madrigals that are IB diploma. Aubrey has had IB art students that are IB diploma. And those of you that are wondering, what even is this diploma? I don't think this is the place to talk about it. But because it came up a few times, I thought I would address that, you know, that we do our best to accommodate kids. If they want to do the diploma and also be, you know, take theater, the counselors do a great job of trying to work with them to map it out and get creative with their schedule. It will give you some constraints on your schedule if you're an IB diploma kid, but all of us have had IB diploma students in our class. Band kids are IB diploma kids. Choir, you know, we make it work as best as we can, but it is a little tricky. Great. Somebody asked if we have to be able to read music if we want to be in choir. So that's the ninth grade choir is no audition required. Zero. You don't need anything. That's my job. That's my job, is to work with you and teach you. Oh, and we have Ellie here. Ellie jumped in. Why don't you share real quickly, Ellie? You can just go through all of it. You can who you are, what you teach, and just a little bit about, for incoming ninth graders, how would they sign up for your class? What would they be signing up for?
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm sorry time got away from me this evening. I'm Ellie Rosendahl and I teach photography and yearbook. So actually, my classes are available starting sophomore year. And I do get a chance to get to know freshmen as a track and cross country coach, but in terms of enrolling in my courses, yearbook starts sophomore year and photography starts junior year. So hopefully if anyone has questions, they'll get to have those answered in person next year.
And I think all of us can like say you want to take a class from her. You
They're
want to
pretty,
get to know
they're
her.
pretty fun classes.
You want her in your corner. Absolutely. Yeah, somebody said, what if too many people sign up for spaces? That's this guy, Chris Bick is the master scheduler. And you know, there are some issues with like, oh, my Japanese class conflicts with, you know, my band class. What do I do? But for the most part, that you don't need to worry about that. I appreciate you asking that, but Chris is very student centered. If a kid wants to take theater, they're going to do everything they can to make sure there's enough spaces. It's not like, oh, there's only 25 spaces. We're done. You're cut off. But
Yeah.
on the flip side, right, Sarah's not here. Sarah teaches ceramics. From a safety standpoint, we have to be very safe. And James's tech classes, working with saws and all that, we have to be respectful of the safety concern. All I want to say is get your forecasting in on time. If you get your forecasting in on time, you're golden. Where we have problems is if you come in July and you email your counselor, you know what, I really want to take ceramics. It's probably going to be full. Okay. But if you get your forecasting sheet in on time, all the signatures are there, or however we're doing it now digitally, you're going to be golden. So a few people have asked about IB diploma and then course pathway. I'm not sure if they were speaking specifically to choir or, you know, but so the IB diploma is something outside of us, right? And then to get that diploma, they have to take a certain number of classes. There is no IB choir class. There's IB music, just like there's IB theater. So there is no IB band class. It's an IB choir class. It's not required to take IB music for the diploma. It's one of the options. And again, that probably, like the IB diploma is such a big monster. I think Chris, are they having a separate Zoom session? Well, these are ninth graders. Please take my advice and just don't worry about the diploma yet.
No, we do have a session on Friday, and because we surface questions like these all the time, and they're so thoughtful and well-intentioned that we want Jill Boshenstein to provide counsel to kids and families relatively early on. So yeah, they've got 45 minutes on Friday. I think it'll be a good time.
Great. Cool. Well, did any of the other teachers see anything else in there that I missed? Otherwise, I've got one more thing for us. I'm kind of responding to one about IB music right now, but were there any other? There were a bunch popping through that I wasn't able to read. So
Ellie, do you want to share a little bit, even for them knowing ahead of time with photography, you guys, like, what do you guys use? So someone asked, is it film, is it digital? And you guys have been using iPads and cameras. And so maybe you can share a little bit about that for people who want that on their radar.
Yeah. So our photography program is a fully digital program. Every year I have a few of my Photo 2 or advanced, I mean, there's just 2 levels. Photography students who choose to also take the endeavor independently, but with my support to do film photography. But we don't have a darkroom or any of those. We do have, with the combination of graphic design and photography, we have a really sophisticated digital program based off Adobe, which is resume building type skills, I think, because it's the highest caliber skills. And yeah, it's creative, but it's also really technical since we are working digital. Looks like more questions are popping in.
yeah, I think I've been seeing a few questions about marching band, and
Yeah.
I would say those are generally very specific and few and far between in terms of, can I take marching band but not take band, right? Or can I take band but not take marching band? And I would encourage, Greg, are you open to people emailing you those questions?
Yeah, sure. Generally speaking, we encourage kids to be in both programs, because the music and marching band, the techniques that we talk about in marching band will definitely help kids within the classroom. But emails, if you want to talk further, you know, for all of us, I don't care if it's visual arts or theater arts or choir or band, it's a big place. And inclusion in our classes, be it during the school day or after school, will really, really help your kids, our kids, sort of their potential. So
Yeah. I thought this was kind of a big, bold question, and it was sent to a direct message to me, so you all didn't see it. But I think it's a good one to end on. And then just so you know, we as teachers will stay here, but we made a commitment to end at 7:15. If anybody has any individual questions, we'll stick around for 5-10 minutes, no problem. But I think a good one to end on, somebody said, how do I get all of the electives? I think that's pretty great. I love that you want to get all of the electives. I wish I had an answer for you. I mean, my answer is one at a time, I think, or maybe two at a time. You know, you could be asking, I don't know specifically what you're asking about, like, how do I fit it all in? How do I sign up? All of that. But I love just the idea. How do I do all of the electives? I think each one of these teachers are pretty fantastic, and you'd be lucky to be with any one of us. I encourage you, if you run into, as you start to create your schedule and you're like, shoot, I only have a half slot, but I really want to do choir, but I only have a half year. Just go ahead and email, if it's a theater question or art, email us and we'll do our best to walk you through. Or I know your specific counselors should be in olden days, they would be visiting you, but they can also help you. Sometimes there is a little wiggle room with your schedule, and maybe they see something, that you don't necessarily know about. So way farther up in the chat, somebody put a link to the program planning guide, and the program planning guide has a section called Fine and Performing Arts. And that's where it's going to list the titles of all of our classes that are offered, as well as a brief description. And again, if you have any problem finding the program planning guide, you can probably just go on Google and say Sunset High School Program Planning Guide. But if you have any trouble, you can always email me or any of the rest of us. Maybe teachers, if real quickly we can just once again say our name and then what we teach in the chat, and then your email address, and then we'll let people. We made a promise. 7:15, you're out of here, and I'm very much a timekeeper. So you are free to go. We're so excited that we had such a big turnout to come hear us talk. And like I said, all us teachers are going to stick around for a while if you have any questions. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody.
thanks, everyone.
We are excited to have you here in person next year.
It's really great to see so many people here, not in person.
Yeah.
It bodes well for the in-person part.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. I know families are busy. It's a tough time. Fit it all in.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
So you said something earlier about like something about saws and hammers or something, that like there's an elective about that or something. What's that called?
It's called theater production and design. So we work with tools and power tools, and including saws and hammers. I guess those are our old school tools we work with. And we work on the sets for the shows, as well as doing some projects in class. We're building and painting and doing those kinds of things.
That was an awesome question.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks for
cool.
asking.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. We welcome any other questions anyone might have. Otherwise, thank you. And we will see you when you become official members of the Apollo family. It's exciting. Good stuff. I'll use this as a chance to check in with all of you guys. Everyone doing okay? I don't see you all.
Yeah.
Great to see everyone.
Yeah, same. It's really good to see you, Greg.
Yeah, Ellie.
Wild, 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 wild. Those pictures of like Matilda popped up, and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
fire concerts,
Yeah.
Apollo's Unplugged, arts.
It's all still there on stage. You just need to, walk out there.
Yeah.
Do it all.
great job on the video, Ellie. That
Yeah.
video was so good. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
doing
you.
that for us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It was sweet to hear what the different kids had to say.
Yeah, it was really, really, really good.
Yeah, they say it much better than we can.
Yeah.
Go straight to the
Awesome.
source. Yeah. And if anyone else has questions, you can interrupt me. I will not be offended at all.
Yeah, if any of you are here with questions, feel free to just unmute and ask. We also know we're used to, as teachers, sometimes there's just computers left on and no one's there.
Right. They may have gone to get a snack. Entirely possible.
I tend to do a little name dance. So if like Jared is left in class, I'll be like, Jared, hey, doing Jared.
Does anyone stay just to get their name danced?
They did one in chamber choir last term. They finally, I think they recorded me. So I was gonna do it. Oh man, gotta try and stay sane. Okay. Well, I think everyone okay? I'm gonna go ahead and close out the meeting. But we see each other. Who's gonna remember? Is it next Thursday?
Thursday? I think it's next
Is
Thursday.
it next Thursday or this Thursday?
Well, it's a week from Thursday. I know it's a March date.
I have it written down right here. Yep, next Thursday, 7:30.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
different time? 7:30.
7:30.
Yeah.
And then that one will be on current Sunset students, or at least students who are coming into.
Right, 10, 11, 12.
So
And then were we planning on a department Zoom this Thursday? That's what I was getting mixed up. Do we have like a
Oh.
department check-in? We don't have to do it this week. I just couldn't remember.
my schedule was so much easier last term. I'm like buried this term. I keep forgetting. Shoot, and I'm getting my COVID shot.
Oh, yeah.
I have my COVID shot on Thursday too, so.
Maybe we all
Me
just
too.
we could just get vaccinated and then we meet.
There you go.
Great. That'd be great. Yeah, so maybe we'll make it a week from Thursday.
Okay.
It's so tough when you teach second, third, and fourth period.
Yeah.
That lunchtime just gets totally hammered. So
Yeah.
I'm barely treading water right now with all those classes. It's just a new
Paddling.
format. I have 6 Canvas pages to update every day.
Yeah.
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 All good.
Are we going to use the same link next week? This link for same link next week or what?
I think for Chris Bick, because I haven't been asked for the link yet, so I don't think I provided it. But
Oh,
Didn't? I have one for you for next week, Chris. I can't remember what you told me.
I think
Right.
I used the same link.
Okay.
Yeah.
so it'll be this one, the one we're using tonight.
Yeah, and I'll send it out again when I remind everybody.
All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thanks everybody.
Thanks. Good to see you
Good night.
guys.
Stay safe,
Yeah.
stay warm.
Hi,
Good stuff.
everyone.
Goodbye, Rita. I had at least one in.